So hello and welcome to my first ever proper YouTube video. I'm making this video because I want to talk to you about my design for what I call a Venetian fence, one that opens and closes with rotating horizontal slats like a Venetian blind. But first, let me set the scene for you and explain how and why I came to build this in the first place. A couple of years ago, I moved my family to this lovely new build estate in the Highlands of Scotland. We were lucky enough to be given the choice over the exact plot, and we picked this particular plot because of its outstanding views over the pond outside. In those long, high-latitude summer evenings, it's a really peaceful spot to hang out, watching the ducks and swans, sand martins, dragonflies. However, with great landscaping comes great walkability. The pond is a popular location for an evening stroll and a regular for all the dog walkers in the estate. Now, the developers were kind enough to supply us with these bog-standard 6-foot picket fences at the rear, and whilst this is very effective at delineating our property, it also serves as the double inconvenience of spoiling our view of the pond from the garden, while simultaneously giving all the early morning dog walkers a great view directly into our kitchen diner whilst we're eating our breakfast, thanks to the whole moving slat transparency thing effect. Now, my wife quite rightly, immediately demanded that I do something about it. Now, the standard response would be to install some privacy screening, such as solid fence panels, or adding extra slats on the other side, the so-called shadow box design. Now, whilst 14 years of married life have taught me that what the wife wants, the wife inevitably gets, I balked at the idea of forever closing off our garden from the beautiful views just on the other side. Thus, an idea was born. Was there some way I could simultaneously screen the garden whilst providing better views when we want them? Drawing inspiration from the Venetian blinds I had recently installed all over our house, I built a prototype from my son's Lego to demonstrate the concept. I then proceeded to rough out the design for a full fence on SketchUp, all the while convincing myself further that this would almost certainly, probably maybe work. Thus, obtaining a green light from my wife, I made a parts list, bought some wood and hardware, and got to work, building out one prototype panel. The prototype exposed some flaws, notably the thinness of the pivot arms made screwing into them quite tricky. In addition, the centre of mass for the slats was too far in front of the pivot points, making the fence heavy to operate and necessitating an excessively long operating arm to give enough leverage to open the fence. My second panel addressed these issues using a thicker stock for the pivots. This was actually roofing stock, hence the blue colour, and this made the fence both stronger and easier to screw in. I'd also moved the pivots forward an inch by strapping the pivot bolts to the outside of the fence post and moving the slats closer to the pivot by cutting out a notch at the top so that they fit in between the posts. This was now much easier to operate, and I completed the fence using this design. The fence is operated by pulling down this handle, which is also one of the pivot arms for one of the slats. This transfers the force to all the other slats through this linking board. The board also incorporates some holes which allow me to lock the fence in the open, closed, or semi-open position as desired using this chute bolt. Each panel cost me about £50 in materials and took me about a day to install using only basic hand tools and a standard domestic cordless drill. It's a bit rough and ready, but it works, and now that I've painted it, I think it looks pretty good too. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Anyway, that's all I have for now. I just wanted to share this with you. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and I will answer every one of them. Thanks for your time. Bye. Oh, and if you're wondering what I did with all those slats that used to be there, I used them to construct this little shed for our bikes. I think that looks pretty good too.